It's the Fellowship of the Geeks Show, brought to you through the support of the following: Awesome Comics at GalaxyCollegeDallas.com, SciFiFX.com, and Voodoo Gingerbread Graphics. Music courtesy of FreePlayMusic.com. You can contact the Fellowship at email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. And now, on with the show! Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Fellowship of the Geeks show for the week of August 27th, 2013. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me via the miracle of Google Hangout is Mike Marlowe.
Yeah, we'll reserve judgment on that whole miracle thing. But, hi.
Not to Al Gore, it's not.
Les Webster.
Tweet, tweet, tweet.
Now there's a miracle for you.
Yeah, I'm not holding out much hope. And from the website at Galaxy College Dallas, James Pickering.
Hi there.
And guest.
And my puppet Lillian.
Well, your puppet's not really...
Your puppet's about to crawl away from you.
The audio mic is not to her liking.
It's one of those special puppets. The one that has a life of its own. That's always good.
You say hi? Notice the hand?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're pretty scary.
yeah.
Eventually she'll start throwing in her own 2 cents.
Oh, that'd be good. So how's everybody doing?
We're here.
Yay.
No send Daddy's lap.
No.
No? Okay. I don't want to be in the front seat, Daddy. Thank you. Hey. They don't need to see that. How do my tonsils look?
I saw your tonsils.
Wow, this is a good start to the show, isn't it?
Yay!
Yay!
Well, anyway, we haven't done this before.
Well, we always have good starts to the show, don't we?
That's true.
Well, let's go ahead and get into tonight's topics then. So, guys, anything kind of bust the internet the last few days?
That's a loaded question.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Besides Miley Cyrus's performance on video.
No. Hold on. I believe that's a good thing because you know what? It's taken all the heat off of Ben Affleck.
This is true.
It's very true. I've seen a picture posted on Facebook several times of Ben smiling and he's kind of waving and it says, "Thanks, Smiley."
Everybody else is going, Affleck and Batman? Okay, whatever. But did you see Miley?
Yeah.
Where'd your hat go?
So obviously we will be talking a little bit about the announcement of Ben Affleck being cast as Batman in the Man of Steel sequel, which what was it, Thursday night? I think it was Thursday night that it was announced, because that's literally when the internet broke.
You would have thought that zombies had been spotted somewhere, you know? And
No, if it was zombies, all the response would have been a little bit more positive.
yeah, there would have been a little bit more of a hey, cool factor, you know?
Hey, cool! Zombies! There's actually zombies.
Yes.
Come on, man, we're gonna go bait some zombies.
So, who wants to go first on their thoughts of this casting decision?
I'm gonna go first.
James.
He thinks it's funny. You know what?
Well, there are several people who think that's funny, actually.
This is my
I am appalled at the fact that people thought it was necessary to bring out
Is this mine?
No, that's yours. Thought that it was necessary to bring out petitions, and of course, just to show their stupidity, where did they post the petitions? WhiteHouse.org or .gov. Hello.
Of course, you need to get President Obama because he doesn't have anything else to be worried about right now.
You know, well, he's got a hotline to Warner Brothers, I guess. Oh, wait a minute, that was an Animaniacs short. Never mind. You know, the fact that they feel that it's necessary to do that, and then of course there's I didn't get a chance to confirm them, but there's rumors that there were death threats to Affleck. You know, if you get a chance, go over my buddy Tom Branch, check out his Tumblr. He pointed out several facts, and of course, well, a lot of people have pointed this one out. First of all, Affleck did not write Geely, and he didn't write Daredevil. And, you know, there was a little bit of time between those two movies where he kind of found out what roles he wanted to work, and he won a couple of Oscars for it. So, you know, judge somebody before there's even a product out there, it's kind of ridiculous. And then
that's the fanboy mentality.
Yeah, and then on top of that, too, they tend to forget that they vote more clearly with their dollars than they do anything else. If you don't want or you don't believe in a product, you don't go spend your money on it. Now, granted, there are people out there that are just going to go throw their money at it regardless. And of course, with movies, it's kind of hard for that to speak because most people are going to go see a movie. A movie is not a product that you can try out before you spend your money. You have to spend your money before you can find out if you like it or not. So dollars don't speak very well there, but you know, there's other ways to make sure that your money counts. Warner Brothers products in general. But this whole thing about, you know, the death threats, the petitions, and just ridiculous. And I think it was another blog that somebody popped up. I want to say it was Taffeta Darling was showing around how the fanboy is killing the movies for the fans because it's all about, you know, you owe it to us to make a decent movie and blah blah blah. You know what? Theaters and the production companies, they don't owe us jack. They're worried about making money for their shareholders, and that's what it comes down to. All in all, I reserve judgment until I see the thing. Do I think that he can do any worse than anybody else? No. So let the product be made, and then I'll see it, and then I'll you know, pass judgment on it. But until then, it's just as fine an option as anybody else. And quit your wanking. I better not say that, otherwise I might get somebody else talking about me. Won't make any comments about fanboys, but just reserve your judgment and check out the movie first before you know, go all AWOL on it.
I want to point out a couple of things that you mentioned. I had heard about the death threats too. I heard something also to supposedly death threats being sent to the administrators of the Man of Steel Facebook page.
What do they have to do with it?
And well, the thing is, and then some people turn around and go, "Well, that's being made up. That's just for publicity or something." I'm like, really? Did they really need to generate a little bit more publicity about this news item? Seriously? Come on.
I know.
You know, I mean...
Again, it's all this negativity pointed at the wrong people. Littlebug? Sit up.
2 out of 3 falls with a 30-minute time limit.
Yeah.
I got the headlock.
And the second thing, you mentioned Daredevil. That was 10 years ago.
I know.
You know, supposedly...
Oscars since then.
Yes.
But in the age of a fanboy, it's mere minutes.
You know, I've not understand that. No, I was not a big fan of the movie. I wasn't exactly a fan of his performance. I wasn't a fan. You know, there wasn't a lot that I was a fan of that movie, but
You know,
but that, like, I wanted to point out that was 10 years ago.
uh-huh.
he's learned a few things about acting and movie making, and obviously because he's won. You mentioned Oscars, one of them as a director, if I'm not mistaken, for Argo.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know. So, who wants to go next before I? And then I'll give you my official.
Don't make it.
What my
Don't
think.
throw dirt at the screen.
Whee!
All right, fine. Obviously, Les is waiting for me to volunteer.
Probably.
He's waiting on his beer.
Well, we can't help there.
There are definitely two camps. I mean, there are the people who are like, no, he must die. And then there are the people who are like, okay, what's the big deal? I do think it's funny that there's almost no in between. But honestly, I'm in the give him a chance camp. I mean, I've seen him in a few movies. I have not seen Argo. I probably should at some point.
I've heard it's about a sci-fi movie.
I've seen him in a what?
That's what I heard, you know.
Well, it is. I mean, that was the whole purpose of Argo. The screenplay was supposed to be a science fiction movie, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And we're in the ditch.
And we're right. Nah, this is not the ditch.
No, it's not a ditch. It's just a little bit of a.
We're hitting the buttons on the side of the pavement, but
There
we're
you
not
go.
in the ditch yet.
Yeah, we're hitting the buttons. There you go.
Anyway, if I'm not careful, we will end up in the ditch. I say give him a chance. I mean, is he the guy I would have picked? Probably not. But the thing we have to keep in mind is that I haven't seen a script yet either. And yeah, there's a really good chance that the casting people in Hollywood haven't either, but let's look at what the story holds before we decide whether this is a bad idea or not. I mean, honestly, I think the guy's proven over the years that he's at least learned how to act if he couldn't to begin with. He knows his way around a movie because he's won Oscars for writing and directing. Despite what people are talking about, he's got the physical build for it. Sure, maybe he'll need to pump a little iron before he gets in there, but he's big and dark and bulky and can physically pull it off, I think. And honestly, he's going in against a guy who, I don't want to say Cavill doesn't have any experience, but he's certainly less experienced. That's what you want in a Batman, honestly. You want a guy who can you don't want the guy who can hold his own against Henry Cavill. You want the guy who has the chops to outdo him if he has to, because that's what Batman's going to do. So why I don't see what the uproar is about. It seems to me like a reasonable choice. And I've actually, the funny thing is, I've actually seen a couple of people who have been violently opposed to the whole thing in the last 24 hours basically pull back and say, hey, okay, look, people, this is getting a little crazy. It's just a movie. Let's calm down a little bit. And these are people, like I said, these are people who are violently opposed to it. These are people that I've seen plugging the petitions against this thing. And they're starting to backpedal and say, okay, hang on, this is getting crazy. Probably because of the whole death threats thing. But
You're saying that there are outbreaks of
sanity.
rationality amongst the irrational?
Yes, there are.
That's a zombie apocalypse right there.
And that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, so it's it's a movie that's going to come out in 2 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's not get in an uproar about it today, huh? I mean, let's not get too overzealous about it. It's just, I don't know.
What I'm afraid of is going to be, regardless of the fact that he's just acting in it, he's not doing the writing or the directing, that they're going to write a really crappy script, and yet he's still going to get blamed for it. That's what it kind of bothers me, because You've seen it before happen with other movies. Well, I mean, they blame it on Geely and Daredevil, you know. It had nothing to do with the writing on that. And granted, you know, I don't know about Geely, but Daredevil, it was kind of intermittent with the acting and stuff, but it's still, you couldn't attribute just his acting to the whole movie. Yet, when you talk to a lot of people, that's all they remember was Ben Affleck and Daredevil. Oh God, did it suck. So that's kind of what I'm worried about. I don't know if he'll get a fair shake on it.
Oh, unless he just knocks it out of the park, he won't. I mean, if he's anything shy of brilliant, it's going to be all his fault. Because, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be totally pessimistic, but I have to say DC's track record for the big superhero movies is spotty at best.
Yep.
So there is a good chance it's going to blow. I mean, I don't think it's a given that it's going to be an awesome flick. There are people who didn't like Man of Steel.
What?
Kind of a lot of people that didn't like Man of Steel, from what I'm hearing.
Yep.
So I just think it's crazy. I think it's just being totally overblown.
Yes.
I look at it,
Daddy.
and for one, you look at Daredevil, okay, not so good, but it had a spin-off, so it did something.
Which sucked even worse, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
is a spin-off.
Somebody thought that that Daredevil was good enough that they could do the Electro movie, and to me that was a mistake to start. Second,
Killing her in the Daredevil movie was probably the mistake, but anyway.
yeah,
Makes it hard to make a credible sequel or spin-off when you're basing on a character who died. Then again, let's not talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now either.
They do it in the comics all the time, man.
then you look at that the big movies he's done. Good Will Hunting. How can you look past this? This was a brilliant movie, and it was well done. It was well acted by Damon and by Affleck himself. They were both involved in the writing and the directing of it. You also look at the fact that since he's done Daredevil, he did another superhero movie, and he was very, very good in it. Hollywoodland was a great movie because it gave you question again about the death of George Reeves. In Hollywoodland, there was a scene where he was at lunch with a group, and one of the people turned to him and said, "Put out your cigarette," and he asked why. They said, "Your fans are looking at you." And outside there were some children standing at the window of the restaurant who had seen him, so they were all excited about it. This is when he stood up and put his hands on his hips like Superman would pose, and you thought, no, that's really good. That's something that Reeves would have done for the kids. The guy can act. Don't kid yourself. Don't sign a petition to think that you're going to stop it. This once again is where people on the internet are brave. They can't stand face to face with you and tell you that it's a bad movie because they haven't seen it. They look at this and they say Affleck can't do it, but does anybody come up and say, "Hey, I've got a different idea. I know somebody else that could do it"?
The internet battle cry is, "I am anonymous, hear me roar." You know, it seems the more anonymous they are, the louder they are. And not a lot of people like to put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, on the internet. And it's too easy to just yell, instead of saying that you don't like something and then offering a viable solution to it or a viable alternative. Unfortunately, fortunately, Not everybody's like that, but it just seems like the majority of it, and so that's why you get all these people that do that, and it's and of course that's also sensationalistic, and that's why we tend to hear more about that than we do the people who are okay with it. Where are you going?
Climbing into
You trying to get better? You trying to get better screen real estate? Is that what that is?
Daddy, it's time for my
Hey
close-up.
there, everybody.
Next thing you know, she fell off the camera. Ah!
Do the Baptusi.
Don't
No.
ever do that.
Didn't we all have a problem with? Well, we discussed it before, but there was word when Michael Keaton first took the cowl for Tim Burton, and people were upset, going, "That's Mr. Mom. He could never do this." The guy did several fine pictures for known for drama. So he wasn't strictly a comedian. You know, let's get past this thought process of trashing something before we know anything about it, before we know what like James said, a plot line or anything of this sort. Let's see what's going to happen first. If you don't want to go see it, don't see it. If you believe that it's going to be the biz, then see it. Mike said that he will have to turn in a near flawless acting job in this to not be blamed for it. I got a feeling even if he had the best acting job in the world, somebody is going to stick to their guns that they didn't like the idea of Affleck being there, so they're going to be right no matter what.
Of course.
And the Man of Steel sequel will do is no good to them. It doesn't matter. They may have loved the first one, but they'll pan the second one, even if it makes $2 billion on opening day. Somebody's going to stick to their guns and say, "I told you it was bad." Oh, really? Did you see what the net was for this week? Step back. Let's just enjoy the movie. Let's just see what happens first. He's been named for it. That doesn't mean that he's going to actually do it. So let's find out first. Thank you. I'm stepping from my soapbox.
Oh, no, Les. There's plenty of soapboxes to go around. We got plenty.
Kiss a couple of babies, buy a couple of beers, and you'd be in office by now, dude.
Oh, boy. I'd be tweeting the world.
I don't know what to think of this. I'm still kind of stunned, although I really shouldn't be after thinking about it, because there had been rumblings about him, of Affleck possibly directing a Justice League movie. So, who knows? It may all work together. There's rumblings that he signed a several picture deal now, depending on who you want to believe. There are some sources out there that I highly question say he's signed a 13 picture deal. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, when the standard seems to be about 4 to 6. He supposedly signed 13. I have a wait and see attitude.
I don't think Argo gets him that much money right off the bat like that.
Well, I don't know about it being the money, but just locking him up to do now. And you got to realize we're talking. Well, one movie's already going to be Man of Steel sequel. You got to talk about a Batman franchise, a Justice League franchise. Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, 3 movies each. That's 7 movies right there. So where are the other 6 going to go? So I don't understand that. So if it's a 6 or 7 picture deal, that would make sense to me, because that's what I just said. You got him locked up for a trilogy of Batman and Justice League films.
And honestly, let's be realistic. Affleck's in his 40s. By the time you get to 13 movies, he's booting off Batman Beyond if you're lucky, because he's going to be an old man in a wheelchair, and that's just ludicrous to think that that's even realistic.
Yeah, well, like I said, I questioned the website, and that seemed like an asinine number.
If
But
they send him to more than 3 flicks, I'd be shocked. I mean, and that's assuming that I mean, you're talking about Man of Steel 2, Justice League 2. I would be shocked if it went
Do
beyond.
not spill your drink.
well, we'll see. There's been no official word of how many pictures he's signed, but I'm sure we'll find out here at some point. As I already mentioned, people automatically think of Daredevil. That was 10 years ago. You know, get off it. Although someone brought up an interesting idea. One of the websites I follow, mostly on Facebook, it's called the website was called originally they were doing Brave and Bold covers where it was putting up maybe DC or Marvel characters together and all that kind of stuff. And it not necessarily continues that thing, but I think it's called Super Team Family right now. At least those are the covers they're doing right now. Someone suggested that they do a cover, a photo cover. They would have the Affleck Daredevil, the Affleck Superman, and as soon as they do a picture, they release a picture of Affleck Batman, you get all 3 of them together. I'm like, yeah, that might be interesting to see.
Well, then you can put Ryan Reynolds on one from Trinity 3 and from
Blade Trinity and Deadpool and Green Lantern.
You can get Chris, what's his face, Evans, as Human
Yeah.
Torch and Captain America while you're at it.
See, and that's another example. You know, and I'm kind of guilty of this. When they announced that Evans was going to be Captain America, I'm like, seriously, the Human Torch?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he can pull it off.
I didn't think he was either. Pleasantly surprised.
He did a hell of a job.
Yep.
Although his bulking scene was totally CGI, yeah, okay. Let's move on from that.
Well, you were the only one that was noticing his chest there, so Les.
I was going to say, all right, Les, how long have you been trying to bulk up?
I'm known as the Incredible Bulk, so
I thought you were Princess Hulk Smash.
that's it.
His secret identity has been revealed.
But it's funny because after all that broke, you started hearing all these other wild stories. I know Mike and Les and I were talking about this before we started the show about Bryan Cranston. You know, it's a done deal that he's going to be playing Luthor in the next movie, but they won't make an official announcement until after the series finale of Breaking Bad's announced.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great casting.
November?
They didn't have that many episodes.
They have 8 episodes left, and I think it starts in September. So
No, Breaking Bad already started a couple weeks ago.
Breaking Bad has been on for a few weeks now.
Yeah,
okay,
2 or 3 weeks. So we're talking about in the next month, maybe.
Yeah, a month.
It's a great idea. I love it. I don't believe it until I'll hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Is Malcolm going to be his stooge?
Oh, Mr. Luthor! Mr. Luthor!
Why does he need a stooge?
I'm sorry. That actually on this side of the camera, it sounded like Vinnie Barbarino. I'm sorry.
Didn't even sound like that on this side of the camera.
Thank goodness.
Well, and of course the obvious thing we hadn't even mentioned when the first word of the announced was, well, Matt Damon's going to be playing Robin.
See now.
And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me, you know. And then the same website, which I've not mentioned the names and I'm not going to, also said that, well, Damon's going to be cast as Aquaman in the Justice League movie. I'm like, okay, I'm still not believing any of this.
Poor Damon just can't get a break.
He's going to be cast as Aquaman, but he's essentially going to be playing the same role he played in Ocean's 11.
Or Born Identity, or
Aquaman role anyway.
or Elysium, or that kind of stuff. I don't know.
All these people have done is picked up the idea from Wizard. Wizard magazine years ago would say, "This is our cast for this movie. You know, we're thinking of doing a Deadpool movie. Here's who we would have in the various roles."
Yeah.
It's pure speculation. And the website that you're getting this info from has nothing to back it up.
Well, yeah, they've got sources. Who knows? The same website today said that Snyder is eyeing, get this, try not to laugh too hard, Timothy Dalton to play Alfred.
I heard that somewhere. Where did I hear that?
That hurt.
And I'm like, obviously someone is watching Beware the Batman, and that's probably where they got the idea.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if y'all are watching Beware the Batman. I've started. I've recorded the last 3 episodes and I caught up. Sometime it was either late Sunday or Monday, and I'm like, this Alfred is weird, because he's like a badass what was it? Is he MI6?
MI6, yeah.
A former MI6 operative who's now pretending to be Bruce's butler, but he's helping.
They're going after the Batman Year One version.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that because I'm reading Batman Year One right now. I knew it. Thanks for tossing me a cookie, man.
But I don't know. And I just saw when I started setting things up for our show tonight that apparently Shatner wants to be in the movie as Alfred. Then someone suggested Adam West, and I'm just like, okay, we're really...
Can you see Shatner? Shall I book your travel plans, Mr. Wayne?
No, it would have to be a 2-minute speech.
Yeah, I was about to say, you said that way too fast.
I paraphrased. Or whatever. Paragraphed.
Parasailed?
Speed frame.
But I'm taking a wait and see attitude. I think it'll be all right. It's not like you have to be a Shakespearean actor to do these movies. As long as it's a really good script, I think everybody's going to do their best on the job on doing the movie. So
there you go, Kenneth Branagh.
To direct or as Alfred?
As Alfred.
I could actually see that.
Could you see him giving his St. Crispin's Day speech to, Bruce Wayne as he's going down the bat pole to fight another villain?
No.
Me neither. Just thought I'd throw it out there.
So we'll see.
Why can't we get just one person to watch this video, and that's the only snippet they hear is Kenneth Branagh's going to play Alfred, and run with it and go viral? Why can't we get that?
Somebody will.
Yeah, Les will get on Twitter himself and do it.
There you go.
Tweet, tweet.
Tweet. Here's me holding my breath.
Yes, and those tweet sounds are actually the little birdies around his head.
Yeah, the picture must have fallen on it.
She goes, isn't that silly?
Thank you.
That's right. My daughter who knows comedy when she hears it. Why are you making faces at him? Gentlemen,
Because you can.
It is 10 o'clock. It's time for me to go shove her head beneath the pillow and put her to sleep.
Alrighty.
On the behalf of both of us, we've enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
You guys have a great night.
All right. See you,
Good night.
James.
Anyway, bye. No.
No. Bye.
Billy.
And then there were 3. Good album, though.
Yep.
Right, Mikey?
Somewhat underrated, but yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into tonight's game segment. Woo-hoo. This week it is chances. You give odds on whatever I say will happen. Who wants to go first?
Les does.
Okay. Les.
Thump.
Chances are the new title Justice League Canada will actually bring in international readers. Last week at Fan Canada or Fan Expo Toronto? Fan Expo Toronto. Because I've heard a couple of names for this and I'm like, okay, which one is it? So, it was announced that as a result of the Trinity War and the Forever Evil storyline, the Justice League America team will relocate to Canada early next year, and the title will be renamed to Justice League Canada, and will include some new characters or some new members. Some are new characters, and even Les's favorite, the Canadian Adam Strange. So chances are that this will actually increase international readers.
I'm going to say that it's not going to be too high. I can see what the storyline is doing, and I can even see them spinning off a Justice League Canada from it. I don't believe the core of the league will stay in Canada. They will eventually move back south, out of the Great White North. And I can see some of the Canadian characters being leftovers from Alpha Flight and Bob and Doug McKenzie. I'm not sure where they're really going to go
You gotta
with
get Red
this.
Green in there too.
Yeah, Red Green, yes, thank you.
Led by William Shatner.
Absolutely.
And Colin Mockery as Wolverine. I just don't see that this is going to be a big boost to sales. And like I said, I think it's not going to be a long. The core will not be there all that long for their run. They'll return. And yeah, it gives them a chance to do a Batman Incorporated type deal where they will get people outside the United States into it. Readership, I don't see is going to improve all that much. That's it.
Mikey.
So they're going to force the Justice League to move out of the United States. Thanks, Obama. Anyway. That's as close as I ever get to political humor.
Well, I
think
would make a comment about Obamacare, but they're going to Canada,
they're
so
going to Canada, so socialized medicine. It's all right.
so that kind of defeats the purpose.
So I think the only way that the chances of this are going to be above zero is if you round up every single American Adam Strange fan and kick them out of the country. Because
Even less?
they don't even less, which I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying that's what's the only way it's going to happen. I'm not saying less get out of the country. I'm just saying it's not. I don't see this having any effect on international readership. I think it's almost a silly idea that it might, because why would it being based in Canada after all these years make any difference, especially when you can bet that it's not going to be based in Canada for more than a year or two.
Right. So you're saying it's a stunt there, Mike, huh?
I'm saying it's if it's a stunt. No, actually I don't. I think if it's a stunt, it's an incredibly lame one, which is why I tend to think it's not a stunt. It's just a temporary thing. They're going to do something with whatever politics they have going on in the United States, and they're just going to it's going to be a conscientious objector thing, and that's all it is, and they'll be back.
Yeah.
It's a holdout from a long time ago when people were drafted and didn't want to go to war, and so they went to Canada instead. I imagine it won't be much different than that. So I think chances are pretty low.
I agree. You know, I think we've had this talk before about international characters and why they can't seem to do well here in America. In America, I mean stories in America. Why can't the books do well and all that? That always seems to be that you got to take some American characters and move them somewhere else, and then bring in some other ones, bring in international characters in, and then hopefully they'll develop a following, and you can move on from there. No, I don't think anything's going to happen out of this. I what I could see them doing is if it does even remotely well, that they may continue it, and then like you said, Les, have some of the big characters come back to America, and then they restart Justice League America. So now you've got another Justice League title. So you got two where you had one before. I could see them doing that because we always need another Justice League title, just like we do Avengers.
Was there a 3 right now? 3 Justice League?
We have Justice League America, and Justice League Dark. Demon Knights, if it's still around. I'm not sure if it's still around. That should be really called just Medieval Justice League or something like that, because that's essentially what it is. Although when I was reading it, it was pretty good, but I had to cut back, and that was one of those I said, okay, I can live without this. I'll just trade it. So. Alrighty, next. So this means it's Mike's turn. Chances that Stan Lee's new reality competition show will succeed. Same convention. Stan Lee accidentally let slip that he's involved in a new reality show that's going to be trying to discover new comic book writers and artists and have American Idol type of elimination. So we might as well call it the next comics creator or something like that. I mean, there's no title been released because it was not supposed. That information was not supposed to come out. But You know Stan. He gets so excited and just wants to let everybody know what's going on, and sometimes he shouldn't. So, Mikey, chances of this being a successful show?
Okay, I am an incredibly bad person to ask this question of, because I choose not to partake in reality TV. Um, to me, there's just very little point to it. So I mean, would I watch it? No. I probably wouldn't even watch it if I knew half of the people on it, just because it's a reality show and I don't care for such things. Um, do I think a reality show about comic book artists is going to be successful? Not without some serious crafting. They're going to have to. I don't want to. Don't get me wrong. I like comic book artists as well as the next guy, but not. I, and
Well,
some of them are actually very interesting people.
yes.
Well, again, I'm not bashing comic book artists in any way, but I find it hard to believe unless they just really go out and find all the flakes and weirdos they can find for the first season of this thing that it's going to be successful. I just think it just seems to me it's hard to believe unless they're going to strand them on an island with no food or something. I just don't. I don't know. And again, I'm not the guy to ask this question of because I don't watch the stuff. I don't like the stuff.
Mm.
It's
So you hadn't been watching Heroes of Cosplay?
I have not. No.
No. Okay.
No, I don't. I don't get into that sort of thing.
Les.
I don't see any good coming out of this. I know that the geek factor will have people tuning into it, but just to try to judge somebody's work in a 1 week span is really absurd. Mary may write a horrible script the first week, be voted out, but she may turn around and be one of the best writers in comics. The same way with Dan as an artist. He may show the best work the first week and get to the second week and then be nothing but garbage. You can't judge it just on a 1 week span. Unlike American Idol gives the competition a week to sing a song. They are trained for it. I cannot see anybody on this show having a writer or artist over their shoulder saying, do this, do that. Let's make it yours type situation like they do at Idol. I don't see this panning out for anybody. And I'm sorry to say that I don't think you're going to find all that good a group of writers and or artists in this competition, unless you're going to have them swim 40 yards and see who gets the tackle out of the rowboat and is able to bring it back to shore without getting your shorts wet. It doesn't make sense. The competition is skewed to start because you're thinking that somebody that goes out for this is thinking, I can do this, and they're going to be crushed within the first 2 or 3 weeks that they find out that it's not all fun and games. It's a job.
Well, there's also the possibility of people trying this out. Worst case scenario, yeah, they get kicked off the first week, but someone's going to look at their work and say, hey, and maybe give them a chance. I could see some people thinking that way.
See, and you're also assuming that they're going to use amateurs for this. I actually find that really hard to believe. I think I think in order to do this, you're going to have to use professionals, freelancers type thing, and you're not going to find any amateurs in this competition because honestly, you're going to pay these people to do this. I mean, even if it's honestly just like a weekly stipend or whatever, you're going to give them money for it. So you're not going to bring in amateurs. You're going to bring in people who have at least some evidence that they can do this. And once you get to the point where you're paying them for it, I think the ego crushing thing it's not going to be as big an issue. I think you're not going to crush people's souls on a paycheck.
But don't you feel like somebody that is a professional is going to throw down their pencil and say, I'm out of here. You guys are horrible. I quit. Don't you think that they're going to have an attitude like that somewhere?
Maybe.
Oh, the producers are going to hope.
Yeah, right. And that's what I was just going to say, that yes, you probably are going to have one or two of those. And honestly, that's what makes good reality TV. You're gonna have egos. They're going to do their best to make them bounce off of each other and do things, do the mean thing, and just generally be as unpleasant as they can make them. And that's what all of that stuff is about. That's what those shows, the solo shows work, is you put a bunch of people in what's effectively an impossible situation for them to do what they're supposed to do, and you force them to do it. And you see who explodes first. It's the NASCAR of television, and this is why I can't stand it, honestly, is because there's absolutely nothing real about it. Boy, I shut you guys up.
So we all have low expectations for the show, even with Stan's name on it, and he says he's not going to be the one. It's funny because let me pull this up real quick. Let me get that quote. Gotta get that quote. Come on.
He promised he
for me
wouldn't
real
be a
quick.
judge as he didn't have the heart to boot anyone off the show.
Exactly. I was like, well, you didn't really have a problem getting rid of people on Who Wants to Be a Superhero. I don't understand what the difference is.
And that was, what, 8 years ago?
Something
10 years
like
ago?
that. Somewhere around there, yeah.
Wow.
He may have had a problem doing it, but he did it. So
That may have been what decided him that he didn't want to do it anymore.
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe he's just there to show up and be kind of an opening greeter. Hey, welcome. This is what's going to happen tonight, and then be at the end and say, tune in next time, folks. That kind of stuff, and of course have his name on the thing, and that's probably all they'll ask of him.
Yeah, well, he is how old? So, I mean, you don't want to tax him too much.
So.
The Sam Screeder of a reality TV.
Pretty much.
So. Oh well, that's chances for this week. Woohoo!
Yay!
We done it.
We done it. So, guys, you got anything y'all want to add before we sign out this week? Do want to mention James's website at galaxycalldallas.com. But any news items or something?
Well, hopefully James and I will have some information from the Lone Star Con 3 down in San Antonio in the next few days.
Yeah, our cub reporters are back on the job.
Yeah, boss, we'll be there. Scoop Bradley here. I've got a feeling that it's going to be interesting. I've seen some of the lineups they do have, and it intrigues me.
Do you have your pull pin?
No,
not press, pull.
I've got the pull pin, yeah.
So y'all are going to be at Lone Star Con this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Y'all have a safe trip and y'all have fun.
It's going to be a long one, too. The thing starts on Thursday and finishes on Monday. So,
Wow.
It's kind of unusual.
So that's
But
why you're. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, but unlike a comic book convention, it's not going to be just a solid dealer floor and a few rooms for Q&A. It's going to be mainly Q&A stuff.
The other way around, yeah.
So you're going to be there all. What is that?
5 days.
Thursday, 5 days.
Thursday through Monday.
Nice.
So kind of looking forward to it.
When Les does a show, he does it to death, by golly.
Is James going down same time, or is he showing up a little bit later, or what?
No, we're traveling together.
Okay. So y'all are heading out tomorrow. Then.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Cool.
And
Awesome.
just looking at the lineups are amazing. They're going to have Q&As about Robert E. Howard, a Texas boy, and his creations. And they've got they're going to cover the Texas-Israeli war book and how that's progressed. You're going to have Joe R. Lansdale. You're going to have James Gunn.
I saw that James Gunn was going to be there.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of group he gets for this.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people there showing up hoping that they're going to hear something about Guardians since that comes out next summer.
I'm sure it's going to be thick with that. So, but yeah, we're both looking forward to this travel.
Cool. Mikey, you got anything?
No, I'm afraid the Miley Cyrus thing kind of shut my brain off for the week.
Yeah, I heard the word twerking, and I was like, do I really want to find out what that is? No, really, not really. I'll just forget about it.
No, you don't.
Move on.
Yeah, forget about it. The rest of the world will forget about it in a couple of months anyway, so yeah, might as well. Just let it go.
Yeah.
It's a shame that mental illness can be such a big deal. But anyway.
But it's funny reading some of the stuff about the performance on all this, and of course, there's got to be some insults. And it's like, shouldn't we be expecting this since her father used to have the mullet and sing "Achy Breaky Heart"? I'm like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, I actually saw one that said something along the lines of how he was just in his room listening to that song over and over again, crying. But anyway.
Was he in a straitjacket too?
Quite possibly.
Anyway.
Popular culture, folks. It's all fun and games.
It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. Alrighty. On that weird note, we're going to sign off for this week. Any feedback would be appreciated. Email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. We read everything and respond. So go ahead and send us something, good, bad, or indifferent, questions or whatever. Mikey is at Mikey Geek, as you can see on the screen. Say something so it can pop up.
Something so it can pop up.
There it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're still threatening to set up a Twitter account for Les. And of course, the Fellowship, we have at Fellowship Geeks at Twitter. On Facebook, we're Fellowship of the Geeks, and then Google Plus, we got the big ass long number. So just do a Google search on Google Plus for us.
Yes, please.
And follow us, and we do appreciate it. Any final words before we shut it off? Is that it? Oh, and everybody have a good Labor Day weekend.
Yes, holidayness. Woo.
Yes.
Day off of work. Yay.
Yeah, some of us get 3-day weekends. Some have been on a holiday weekend for forever. So those who don't, this is getting their first 3-day weekend in a while. I hope you enjoy it. Have fun. Stay safe. And we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Keep your stick on the ice.